Hi, we're trading up, and today's conversation starter is XRP and Bitcoin. What happens next? Today is February 10th, and today there are meetings going on in the White House talking about the Clarity Act decision. And, what we're waiting for is what's going to happen next after whatever they decide with the Clarity Act. That brings XRP to a very critical turning point as regulatory uncertainty may be moving closer to resolution with this upcoming Clarity Act decision. So let's take a look really quickly at XRP. On my chart here, we see that XRP is kind of consolidating here just under the $1.46 range. It did spike above that a little bit last week. It spiked above that, and it's kind of hanging under that range of about $1.46, $1.39 to about $1.46. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. Let's see where Bitcoin is today. Okay, and Bitcoin looks pretty similar. We see where Bitcoin had that big dump, and then it came back up, and it's kind of a little more volatile though, but it's just under 73,000. Today it's 68,744. Okay, so we see that, the cryptos are kind of consolidating right now. It's like we're in a holding pattern. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my XRP chart here. All right. Okay, so one thing about the Clarity Act is that it can help to establish a clearer framework for XRP, Bitcoin, and many other cryptos. All right. It's designed to make the rules of crypto regulation straightforward. Okay. If the Clarity Act does pass, that could mean that large capital inflows will come into cryptos like XRP and others. All right. And we could really see that price appreciate, that price go up. All right. So the Clarity Act also will tell us which digital assets will be legally allowed and which are not. Now we know that XRP has already been tested. It's already gone through its legal scrutiny, and it is not classified as a security. It is a commodity. So XRP has already gone through that legal scrutiny. All right. So also, if the Clarity Act passes, that means that these clearer rules mean more trust, okay? More capital inflows, more money flowing into the market. And for XRP has multiple use cases. There will be more use. XRP will be used, okay? We will see more use cases out of XRP. All right. So retail traders, most of us are, watching the price. That's what we're focusing on. We see that price going back and forth between 139, 146. We have our eyes on the price. But is that all that we should be focusing on? Banks and institutions, they are positioning for price appreciation for XRP. In other words, they're buying XRP, okay? And so this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. My personal opinion is that at this time in history, maybe we shouldn't focus so much on price unless we see the price as an opportunity to position ourselves in XRP, just like the banks and the institutions are doing. Okay, so we see that price is just under $1.46. It almost looks like it's being held down to a certain level. But, who knows, okay? We do know that participants in this financial framework are building global settlement infrastructure. And XRP is a part of that global settlement infrastructure. So you can't have a highly volatile asset when you're building global settlement and infrastructure on it. So maybe, if we think about it, maybe that's why that price is kind of being held at that range right there. All right. So another thing we want to think about is there's some things that have to be in place for XRP's price to truly appreciate and us to really see major price discovery. We need to have this Clarity Act passed, okay? So that's part of the regulation. We need to seek liquidity corridors, okay, where money can flow back and forth freely. We need to see compliance frameworks put in place, as well as an integration with legacy financial systems, okay? That includes our banks and financial infrastructure, okay? So once we see some of these things in place, I believe then we'll see the price of XRP increase. So what we're seeing right now is a price of $1.39. Is that an opportunity? Is that an opportunity for retail investors and traders to get positioned like banks and institutions? It all depends on what your focus is, and actually I'm looking long term. I'm thinking about XRP with a long-term focus. So I hope this information sheds a little light on XRP, even Bitcoin and other cryptos, that this price is temporary. We have a downturn in the entire crypto market. And so while the price is at these levels, consider, and this is not financial advice, are you positioning yourself for long-term gains? Is now the time to do that? And so with XRP, Bitcoin, and other cryptos, and as we're focusing on the Clarity Act, what's going to happen next? Let's keep our eye on this crypto market so that we can be prepared and not surprised. So until next time, take care.